Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dinner Party Tonight Table Settings. We're going to talk about fancy table settings, some manners stuff, and then we're going to talk about simple table settings and how to start your collection, to go from the beginning to years of collecting, and how you can enrich your life by presenting beautiful dinner parties. One of the things that I learned as a child was both my parents, they were absolutely superb at entertaining and hosting. They were consummate hosts, and I learned practically everything I know from both of them. Different styles, and they lived separately, so I learned two totally different styles, but they were linked because they were both super, super chic. Now, what does that mean? It means when somebody comes to your house for dinner, they feel like they are the only person in the world that you care about. That's done subtly, and it's done on a grand scale where you're serving things that they like, you're making a beautiful environment, you have enough alcohol, and also that they feel in place, en place. They feel correctly en place. They don't feel weird. If you notice somebody that's feeling weird, it's your responsibility as a host to make them not feel weird without drawing attention to them. These are little things that you'll get good at. You probably are good at most of it already. You just have to apply it to a dinner party. So in order to bring this down to one sentence, I would say, this is not my quote, I believe it's a Da Vinci quote. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Do the simplest version the best that you can, and you will be totally sophisticated. Trust me. It's true. Let's talk about a fancy dinner party. So fancy dinner parties, you should set your table the day before so you can fuss with it. It's not going to get dusty overnight, okay? And you want to look at it and fuss with it, not when they're coming in, okay? So if you have something coming up, let's think, by fancy, I mean fancy. I don't do this very often. So let's do Christmas, New Year's. My niece Elizabeth is leaving her residency and is now just a doctor in the world. So congratulations, Dr. Elizabeth Sharp. So I'll be throwing a party for Elizabeth, for instance, which will be very fancy. As you know, I also work in the theater. So what you're doing is you're doing what they call a mise en scène. You're putting the mood that you would like your guests to feel in the design of your table. It's not hard, okay? It's really easy. You guys have style, you're dinner partiers. It's like, just use a day or the evening after work before the day of the party to really focus on your table. Remember, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Try not to go over 3 colors, okay? Same thing goes for your clothes. And actually, 2 colors is better. That said, gold goes with everything, okay? So you can sort of use gold for fancy, but basically try to keep it down to 2 colors if you can, or 3, white, gold, pink. Thinking that way will clarify what you're doing. So you need a white tablecloth. I mean, I've collected over the years, and we'll talk about collecting these incredible organza overlays, and this goes over a white tablecloth, or you can just use a white tablecloth, but these add a sort of depth. Inexplicably, Martha Stewart wants you to have the tablecloth going all the way down to the floor, which looks really great in her photographs, but is untenable if you're sitting at the table. What are you supposed to do? Sit down, pick up the tablecloth, and put it on your knees? Or put your knees in at the risk of pulling everything off the table? It's absurd. So don't do that. However, it shouldn't be barely hanging. You should have at least this much hanging off the top of your table. So you want about we have 10 inches here, said the actress to the bishop. The worst thing is sticking out because there isn't enough to drop down. You don't want that. That looks weird. If you have a very tiny tablecloth, don't use it. Wait until you can get a bigger one. That's the tablecloth. And I have, in this case, white napkins that go with a white tablecloth. Do not use napkin rings, okay? You can ignore it. This is obviously my personal opinion. Napkin rings, question mark. You take them off the napkin. What are you supposed to do with the napkin ring, okay? You put it down, destroy the table design. So the problem with napkin rings is don't use them unless they're edible. If it's something they pull off and it's some sort of, I can't even imagine what that would be. A shrimp napkin ring? Hard to imagine. But I personally hate napkin rings. Even though I have some very beautiful ones, I never use them. They're stupid and they wreck your table. And they fall on the floor. And just don't use napkin rings. A ribbon is okay because then they put it around their neck or something and it's funny. A ribbon you can use, but don't use these hard beaded napkin rings. Don't use those. I'm just going to lay the science on you of how to kind of do a fancy setup. Please, I understand that you guys already know this, but we're just going to do it for fun. I don't use a ruler like they do in Downton Abbey. It really should be the width of a hand from the table to the bottom of the plate. Don't worry about that. I like to put the napkin on the plate. Some people put it under the fork. The fork always goes on the left. So I prefer, I don't know, I like that because it makes the table sort of festive when they walk in. So knife on the, okay, so fork goes on the left, knife goes on the right, blade facing in. So you can't take your knife like this and cut the person next to you. It's true. All that stuff is a bunch of nonsense. It's nice to put the knife facing the plate. Do it. Okay. Dessert. Fork facing to your right. Spoon facing to your left. Spoon on top of fork above plate. Above plate. And then your drinking glasses. It always goes champagne, wine, water. Champagne first, wine second, water third. Always on the right. You serve from the left and you pick up from the right. Down left, up right. That's how you remember it when you're serving at table. Except for liquids, which you serve from the right because the glasses are on the right. So yeah, that's the basic setting. Plates, knives, and forks, and glasses. Small things you can experiment with, things like color, right? So we have gold, white, and pink here. So I'm thinking, oh, I have a glass that's very slightly pink. So I'm just going to try that glass. And in a way, that's almost better because it's pale pink and it sort of picks up the color of the flowers. I mean, it's just a small thing. This stuff is so crazy, but it's fun because it's theatrical, okay? Think of it that way. It's not exclusionary, it's theatrical, okay? Your butter plate is on your left. Your butter plate is on your left. So let's pretend this is my butter plate. That's my butter plate, not this one. This one is that person's, okay? So your butter plate is on your left. Your salad plate is on your right. Okay, I don't use salad plates. But this prevents people from touching your bread, which I find totally gross. So your bread and butter plate is on your left. How do you make a table beautiful, interesting, and fun? Well, you're not going to be able to do it the first time unless you already have a lot of these things, which you might. Don't worry that you don't have, these are my dad's, don't have gold top champagne glasses. Don't worry about that. Get normal champagne glasses and just start at the beginning. Then you went to the flea market and you saw that they had these weird metal flowers that were on ugly stems with ugly leaves, okay? Cut the stem. Suddenly you have a table decoration. And this is what makes travel so fun because you're always looking like, ooh, that would be so cool on Easter table, or this would be so rad for peanuts. I go on the beach, right, and I find these unbelievable nautilus shells, and I spray paint them gold. Okay? They look great. Try to do a scattering, like almost like stuff fell on your table. Don't be rigid like this. That's hard. It should look like it accidentally fell. And then what happens is your guests, you know, there's blah, blah, blah. Oh, yes, the boy is very handsome, isn't he? Yes, but he's not age appropriate. Oh, well, you're talking. And then they're looking at the table and they find this little mouse curled up next to the roses. He's so sweet. So they have little fun moments in their dinner where they find things. These are not expensive things, But don't go out and try and buy all these things at once. It doesn't work like that. It's a collection, okay, that you're going to collect over the years. Flowers, you want to make sure that none of the flowers on your table are higher than somebody's hands like this. That's a no-no, because you have people doing this. So when you're making your flower arrangement for a dinner party, you want to do this and make sure that the flowers are below your clasped hands. If you're not good at flower arranging, please observe our episodes on flower arranging. And also, if you feel nervous just by a single species, I repeat, as we said in these shorts, rather than buying $17 of a tiny amount of an expensive flower, buy $17 of baby's breath, because multiple different sized vases with lots and lots and lots of a flower, even if it's baby's breath, turns into something else. It becomes something more special than this sort of crunched up, expensive, picked over roses. The other golden rule in my household is no lilies at a dinner party. Lilies stink. So you can put them in a bathroom that's far away from the dining room. Now here's the problem, is that Elizabeth loves lilies. So I'm gonna have to sort of think of her floral for her party. Dr. Sharp. Oh, I didn't see you there. So your table is set. They're about to arrive. First thing is, like we've said from chicken dinner, which was years ago now, always have wine open when they arrive. And you want to have lighting set so that women of a certain age look beautiful. You don't want white lighting, fluorescent lighting, bright lighting. Everybody wants to feel beautiful. That's part of being at a dinner party. That said, Nicholas and Hightow have produced a surgical lighting scenario here, which is about 140% more light than I would ever use for a dinner party, because ladies of a certain age can't handle this kind of lighting. But, you know, obviously this is more lighting. We're shooting, so it's more lighting. You want to bring it down so that everybody looks beautiful. And you know what helps with that? Candles. Oh, candles. Which are a beautiful, soft light, helpful to older folks. You know, let's talk about scented candles. So Glade is too strong for a dinner party. So any of those Glade, even the fancier ones, don't use those. The smell is too strong and it interferes with the food. Either don't burn those at your dinner party, or save up and buy a $60 scented candle, okay? It's expensive. Diptyque makes a lot of food-friendly candles. To me, the best one is called Maquis, which is M-A-Q-U-I-S. It's very faint and it's lovely. More expensive is something called Cire Trudon, which is Candles Trudon. These are the candles manufacturers of Marie Antoinette's, which they were used in the movie by Sofia Coppola, My Neighbor. They have a beautiful light, but also they make incredible smells. My favorite is Carmelite. It goes beautifully with food, but they have hundreds. Those are $90 though, which is like, geez, Louise, that's a lot for a candle. So either don't burn a scented candle or really try to find a candle that's gonna complement food smells and will not overwhelm them. Like for instance, a pumpkin vanilla candle, which shouldn't be burned anyway. For votives, always use an uneven number. Try not to put them in geometric patterns. That's up to you. You can try to get ones that are not toxic. In other words, the super cheap votives make a toxic gas. Don't use tea lights, they're ugly. And if you ever want to do a fun thing about candles, even if you're not going to buy one, go to this store. They moved it. They're on the far end of Christopher and 6th Avenue. They're called Aedes, A-E-D-E-S, de Venustus, and they are, you can look them up online. They have the most amazing store of perfumes, but also incredible variety of home scented stuff. Even if you're just going in there for ideas, because they have like 100 different ideas of things, and you might find something you really like. You should always use candles on your table that have been lit at least once. For people to come into a table with a bunch of new candles with white wicks is actually considered bad luck. Don't ask me why. So I usually light them and then blow them out so that they are black wicks on the table. Actually, it's because a white wick is a conduit to a ghost. I don't believe in ghosts, but light your candles and blow them out. Here's the deal with music. It's not the time to assert how much you love Joni Mitchell or how much you love Jay-Z or something like that. It's not going to work. You want to pick a neutral ground, something that people can talk over, something that's fun and festive. I love Rosa Passos, who's a Brazilian singer. She sings in Portuguese. It's lovely. I love Sonny Stitt. He's a jazz standard guy. Don't play Miles Davis if you're going to do jazz because it's too complicated. You want to have something that flows nicely. Sergio Mendes is hilarious and super fun if you've forgotten what he sounds like. But I just want to tell you, even though you already know this, it's not a good time to be like, listen to this song, man. That's not the place of a dinner party. Now, after the dinner party, when everybody's gone and you're sitting in the kitchen, perhaps with a glass of wine, you can start playing records, but not at the dinner party. Are you going to serve, for 4 people, it's slightly awkward for the host to serve from the left. It's a little weird. So you're probably going to do buffet, meaning they get up to your kitchen maybe and you have it laid out nicely and they serve and come back. This is for 4 people, so it's probably better to do it that way. Just out of interest, there are 2 major service styles in the world. One is modern and one is not. One is called French service and one is called Russian service. So French service, which you may have seen in movies about Henry VIII, is when they would bring every single thing that you were going to eat that night and put it all on the table at the same time. So you had mutton next to an almond cake, next to sugar candies, next to salt pork, next to corn. Everything came out at the same time. It was magnificently sumptuous, slightly gross, and they would clear everything away at the same time. Then came the fashion in the late 16, early 17, really 1700s for Russian service, because you're starting to get Russian fancy people then. Russian service came into vogue, which is what we do today, which is first course up, second course, second, courses. So that's an interesting little tidbit you can say to people. Is it Russian service or French service? Nobody does French service anymore, so forget it. I don't know why I told you guys that. Everybody's going to try and clear the table, and that's not cool. So if one person gets up, you say, oh, it would be so nice, Mike, if you would help me. Everybody else, please stay seated. Say it nicely. Otherwise, 3 people are going the 2 feet to your kitchen sink. And everybody's, no. One person can help you. Try to be firm about that. And this is formal. This is not a casual dinner. My mother spins in her grave every time somebody stacks a dish. If it's a formal dinner party, you do not clear the table like this. Okay? It's not a diner, all right? You take them 2 at a time. And from what side do you take them? Upright, okay? So you take them from the right. And one thing you can do to make this easier, I was a cocktail waitress for a long time, is their knife and fork should be together because they're finished, but if it isn't, put the knife and fork together and just put your thumb, you guys know this, just put your thumb over it so it doesn't plop down on the ground. Because that's the end of a dinner party. Please try to do this. If they see the mess of your party, it would upset me because I would think, oh, she has so much to clean up and they went to all this trouble, and it has to be magic. So if you can, try to hide it or clean it before they get there. It's magic. It's not, I slaved all day for your dinner party. But this you guys already know because you've been watching the show. They want to feel like you just went, oh, hello. Like, not that you were sweating and with the pants, which you were. So they don't need to know that. Okay, so that should be cleared. At the end of the meal, you want to put everything nicely in the sink so they don't see it, all right? And refuse help. This is a small dinner party. You can do it. You say, no, 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 please don't do that. I have this whole system. Please don't do it. And immediately start with coffee. Because otherwise, you're going to have 4 people in there helping you wash dishes. And they're dressed up. I mean, it's like not cool. So you go, oh no, I have this whole thing. Make up a lie. You say, oh, I have this whole crazy system, OCD thing. Please just leave it. They will, if you're convincing. So if it's just one friend, my friend Michael is superb at this. Everybody leaves the dinner party. Mike and I start playing records. You can usually tell the evening's drawing to a close when Michael starts playing AC/DC records. That means it's kind of getting towards the shank of the evening there. But we'll play records in the kitchen and clean the whole kitchen, and it's fun. It is fun. Not fun when 4 people are doing it in evening clothes. Not fun. So let's talk about your starter set. What you need to serve 4 people dinner and how to get it for under $100. We're going to begin with plates. You need 4. Start with 4. I can recommend to you the coupe plate from Crate & Barrel, which is $7.95. Okay, and it looks like this. It's a white sort of shallow bowl that you can essentially use to serve anything you want. These are fantastic. I use these for coq au vin. I use them for everything. Okay. If you don't like the bowl, you can try the Frank plate or the contact plate from CB2, which is the secondary line of Crate & Barrel. Just start browsing those sites because you won't believe what you can get for such a very small expenditure. They also have these things called Marta drinking glasses, which are chic in every single size. I like these for wine. I don't know why I like these for wine, but I do. So these are good to get. And they come in different sizes in packs of 8. The other ones are straight-sided, but they are fabulous. You're going to get these Libby 5.5-ounce juice glass. They call it a juice glass. And you buy a box of votives from Amazon, 72 for $25 or something, okay? I'm presuming you have knives and forks. If you do not have 4 knives and forks, every time you go out to dinner, pocket 1 piece of flatware. And before you know it, you'll have a seating for 4, okay? Just put it in your pant pockets. It's easy. You can get flatware easily at Crate & Barrel or CB2. I highly recommend them for your starting set. They have really chic things for a small amount of money. My biggest advice about flatware is do not buy the modern flatware that has the stick handle, like it has a fork with sometimes like a hexagonal like rod, or it has like a flat stick that comes out. Because you know what happens? People can't hold them. They go. It's very difficult to hold on to something with this little tiny stick. You can also go to flea markets. I know they're a drag, and they're essentially a ripoff now because it's 2018. And that old story of finding, you know, the African milking stool for $15, those days are gone. You're not going to walk in and find a Charles and Ray Eames desk that nobody knew. That's not going to happen, mostly because of the internet. But you can still find those big bins of flatware. So look, so go up and say, oh, look, they have 4 knives with the old ivory handles, which are beautiful. Those are hard to find. Or they have 4 knives with this shape handle. I'm gonna buy that. What am I gonna do for this cloth napkin situation? You're thinking to yourself. Well, here's a big hint, trick, and awesome thing. Amazon has kitchen rags, okay? If you fold them a certain way, they look like this, okay? But this is a kitchen rag. They come in bundles of something like 15 for $14. You can get them for less if you go on like a wholesale site. And then you can fold these in any way you'd like. You can fold them so you show the red. I use these all the time. And you'll have extra kitchen rags. All right, guess what? We barely hit 50 bucks. So now you have a little bit of money to sort of consider if you do want to find some placemats, if you do want to find larger candles or candle holders. But all you need is this plate, which is the coupe plate. I like this one. That's all you need. $7.95, right? A $1 rag that you folded into a cute design, one of 8 Marta glasses that you got for some ridiculous price, less than $1 a glass, some Libby juice holders that you bought a box of, and some candles, 72 in a box from Amazon for some tiny amount of money. And then you're going to steal your knives and forks if you don't have them. Just take 1 per dinner. Don't take all 4 because they'll notice that. This is how you do it, piece by piece, moment by moment. Don't get, oh, I don't have everything. You do. If you have 4 plates, 4 glasses, a setting for 4, and 4 napkins, and 3 to 5 votives, never an even number. So using your $100 basic setup for 4, you can then grow your collection from that point. So, casual, beautiful, $100 4-person setting. You can dress up your very simple and sophisticated setting with found objects or presents. Linny gives me these beautiful paperweights. I have such an incredible collection of them now. It can be presents. It can be a collection of 3 glass birds that just tried to deliver my mail through the sealed mailbox that Nicholas did so we didn't have noise from the sawing on the construction site. Make it interesting and lovely for them. Something eye-catching. And if you don't have anything, start simple. Placemats are so bizarrely expensive, which is a strange thing in the world to be expensive. The only thing I can tell you is that these placemats, which are called Lanay placemats, they're from Crate & Barrel. They're $10.95. That's expensive. So for 4 of them, it's like $40. That's a lot of money. But they're very durable, and you can wipe them clean, and they're chic. Don't use plastic placemats. Maybe you have really awesome ones or like ones that you have an emotional attachment to, but it looks a little bit like a lunchroom if you have a plastic placemat. I would just recommend not doing that. Anyway, these are $10.95. That's expensive. CB2, the offshoot of Crate & Barrel, I'm sure has less expensive ones. And also, whenever you travel or go to a flea market or anywhere you go, look for fabric in rectangles, placemat, or placemats. I also put in, it's a simple arrangement. Single species. Have fun. Keep it simple. These are all sort of interesting things to challenge yourself with in terms of doing a fancy party or to set the table for a casual party. If you light votive candles for a Chinese food dinner and put a plate with a cloth napkin, it changes that Chinese food dinner. So try it. Experiment. Take a risk. I know, Leonard, life can be a little bit hard and sad, but it can also be boring. We just cannot thank you guys enough for watching the show. I cannot believe that people are watching our show. It means the world to us. You have no idea. Really means the world to us. I try to answer as many things as I can, and we just want to express our extreme gratitude. And also to say we are really working on producing more content. So watch this space for another episode of Dinner Party Tonight. A shrimp napkin ring? Hard to imagine.